Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Hello, hello. Coming at you from rainy Vancouver. We are getting the first rain we've had in about 2 months, which is good. If you live in the Lower Mainland and you're out driving today, remember the roads will be very slippery. First time in a long time with any rain, and all the buildup of gas and oil on the roads is going to make them quite slick, along with it really, like, it poured rain like a tropical rainstorm. So like I said, it's good. I mean, the plants need it, the fires need it. Hopefully that'll cut back some of the wildfires, but yeah, it's not looking terribly sunny and summery out there. I was hoping to go downtown today. The Holland America Zandam is in town today. It does a 1 week round trip up to Alaska, and I'm going to be on that with Tammy in almost a month's time. Actually, less than a month's time. And so I'm going to go and get some B-roll of it sailing out under the bridge around Stanley Park in Vancouver. But as it is raining, I think not today. Perhaps next week or the week after. But that's on the radar. So we have a lot of topics on for today. That's decent placement. We can go with that. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on, and of course, if you are watching on the replay, I will put the timing in the description below. So if you want to fast forward to something, you could definitely check that out. And thanks for tuning in. And while you're here, you may as well go ahead and hit that like button. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And trying to hit a few goals this year. I don't think we're going to make it to 7,000 before the end of the year, but you never know. We are only at the beginning of August. So that would be a really great treat, is if we can all get there. So yeah, thanks for watching. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Where are we at? 10:03? Yeah, sure. All right. So, yeah, so there's a big announcement today. Now, this isn't hard and fast, but the Department of Transport, the minister, I think, for the Department of Transport, has suggested that they want to reduce the overall amount of cruises coming into Hawaii. And this is to help meet their emissions goals. And now there are some cruise ships that are becoming very, very efficient. In fact, we had one in Vancouver here the other day that is, I think I'd never heard of it before, so I didn't really read much about it. But I read that it was basically one of the world's most emission-free cruises that you could do. I think it was all renewable energy, and I don't know, it sounded pretty cool. But nonetheless, the cruises that we do have going to Hawaii, and that's generally from Vancouver or Seattle, sometimes part of a longer journey around up through Alaska and stuff like that. They are planning to have a significant reduction in cruises that are going there. So basically by 2030, they are hoping to have a 50% reduction in the total cruises sailing to Hawaii. And then they want a further 50% drop achieved by 2035. So by 2035, there will be 75% less cruise ships sailing to Hawaii. If this is on your bucket list, folks, now is the time to do it, because who knows if this will get passed. Now, it's worth noting that this is only for ships that are visiting, where it's a port. If they're a ship that's home ported, so for example, Norwegian, because of the registry, they start in Hawaii. So if you wanted to do one of their repositioning or one of their cruises around Hawaii, you would have to fly in, and then it sails around the islands. But it starts and ends there. So those ones won't be affected. It's just going to be the cruise ships that are sailing to Hawaii. Me personally, cruising for like I think it's good. You got about 4 or 5 days at sea each way if you're cruising from Vancouver or Seattle. So to me, I think that's a lot of days at sea. Like it would have to be a pretty decent ship, I think, in order to for me to be interested for that amount of time. I mean, the casino is going to be open, so that's always fun. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think for me personally, something like Princess would probably be the only one that I could really hack it for that much time because of the Princess just has so many different activities. I mean, there's trivia, trivia, trivia all day long, as well as there's movies under the stars, and they just have just a lot of stuff going on by comparison to some of the other cruise lines. So I don't know. What do you think? Like, is that something that you have done? Is it something you would want to do that you definitely have on your bucket list? If so, like I said, get on it because we're going to see less and less availability on this as we get closer to those deadlines, assuming that this plan goes through. Um, Also, remember supply and demand. So if you are planning to go and do one of these cruises where you're cruising from Vancouver or Seattle up to over to Hawaii, then as we get closer to those reductions, there's going to be less and less ships that are doing these cruises, and that means that the prices are going to start to go up. So if you want to do it, I just say, get your deposit in, get your cabin booked very, very early. Don't wait for last minute because there's just going to be not good availability and the prices are going to be really, really high. So yeah. Finland. Okay, so this is not a big deal, except a lot of people would typically think, Finland, Norway, Sweden, these are countries that you would visit in the summer to not be in excessive heat like you would find in Spain or Portugal. Um, and they've actually just finished a heat wave that lasted, it was 22 days in a row with temperatures over 30 degrees Celsius. So I think that's about 85 Fahrenheit. And, so I mean, it's a pretty significant amount of heat. This was only though for records tracked since you know the Earth was green and unicorns roamed the Earth back in 1961. It just boggles my mind that for so many places that our temperature records and our weather tracking is at such an infantile state. Like even in North America, I think 1920, 1940 was the only one we started to go, hey, wow, maybe we should track what's going on with the weather. So, I- it's just I find it surprising. I don't know about you. I would have thought that maybe there would have been longer measurements, longer records of this type of thing, but no. So, anyways, Finland is over their heat record. But yeah, 30 degrees. I mean, we've even here in Vancouver only hit 30 like maybe 3, maybe 4 times so far this summer. And with the weather forecast as it is for the next 2 weeks, I don't know that we're gonna hit it. My money, however, is on us having an amazing September. And for those of you who've never been to Vancouver, our weather here in usually right through till about the first or second week of October is very temperate. And it's not uncommon for people here in Vancouver to wear shorts kind of year round. I mean, we have outdoor soccer year round, golf outdoors year round. Very rarely do these things get shut down. So good place to come and visit any time of year. Bring your money. Little tourism push there. This was an interesting one and a little bit controversial. You will see some of the way they've done, they'll be putting the headlines on this. They'll put a negative spin on it. So basically, what's happening is what had happened in the past is if you're sailing on Royal Caribbean, and let's say I am going to have a few drinks and well, okay, this doesn't make sense. Let's say we'll do it this other way because I don't really drink coffee. Let's say my husband is going to drink a few, lattes, cappuccinos, very unrealistic as well because he just drinks black coffee, but whatever. So he wants to have some fancy coffees and he's going to have some beers during the day, maybe some wine with dinner. I might have a glass of wine with dinner or not. Um, Realistically, yes, I will. But in this scenario, let's just paint the picture. And he wants the beverage package. Now, in the case where I say I choose not to have the beverage package, that's not really an option, really, with any of the cruise lines. But I'll get into that in more detail in a second. Um, but with Royal Caribbean, in the past, if you had a, a good reason for not wanting, okay, take a step back. Normally, the cruise lines require all adults sharing the same cabin to have the same booze package. Royal Caribbean in the past has said if you are a recovering alcoholic, if you, for medical reasons, can't have alcohol, if you are pregnant, then they would, on a case by case basis, allow only one person in the package to purchase the beverage package. Unfortunately, as happens with anything, whether it's travel related or otherwise, this turned into a bit of an opportunity for people to scam. So, two people sharing a cabin, and they now remember Royal Caribbean doesn't have a limit on the alcoholic or the specialty beverages that you have through the day. So it's not like Holland or Princess where it's a limit of 15 drinks. There's no cap on Royal Caribbean. So what people would do is they would go and they would get a glass of wine and then go to a different bar and they would get a beer or whatever. And not both of those drinks were not for them. One was for their non-paying, non-packaged travel companion. So the negative spin you will see on this is that it's not fair. In the past, if you were, again, a recovering alcoholic or pregnant, you didn't have to spend that extra money for a booze package because it's not cheap. I'm not exactly sure how much it is on Royal Caribbean, but typically these booze packages run 60, $65 a day. So that's going to add up. And if you're pregnant or you're not you can't drink, then it feels like you're paying for something that you're going to get literally zero value out of. I mean, in fairness, you can drink the special coffees, the smoothies, all of that stuff that doesn't include alcohol. You could have mocktails that doesn't include alcohol, but it is a big pivot on their part. That now they're going to say there's no exceptions. If one person's getting the booze package, both have to get it. So you will see some negative spin in the news about that because what good is a news story if it's not controversial? Um, hey Angelo, how are you? 15 drinks, so you'd be passed out before lunch. Yeah, but you're a lightweight. You don't really drink much. Although I don't know. 15 drinks before lunch. I mean, unless you start at midnight, that's a lot of consumption for sure. Um, yeah, and you really you gotta have a plan of action, I think, if you're gonna tackle 15 drinks before lunch. Oh, that would be a lot, yeah, for sure. Um, so yeah, they are changing it, but in fairness, they're kind of aligning it to what every other cruise line does. Holland America, Holland America, Celebrity, Norwegian, Carnival, they all require this. Disney doesn't do drink packages, so that's not really comparable to them. Um, Princess, if you are buying their broad package with the booze. So if you're buying the drink package that includes prepaid gratuities, Wi-Fi, and perhaps a specialty dining credit, shore excursion credit, that kind of thing. If you're buying the plus package, then both people must have it. If you're buying just the standalone drink package, this is where they break out from most of the other cruise lines, where with Princess, if you get the standalone beverage package, only one person's required to have it. Now, again, they probably are aware. I mean, there's cameras everywhere. It's not like they don't know what's going on. So they probably see some fraud with this as well, and who knows how long they will continue to offer that. We'll see. Out of all of them, Virgin doesn't have drink packages, and the way they do it's different. You basically buy drink credits. If you don't use them, you lose them. So, if you got FOMO, fear of missing out, then you're gonna be the one who's, like, living large at the end of the cruise and paying for drinks for all of your new best friends. Because with Virgin, you can actually, buy drinks for other people, whereas, of course, if you're on one of these drink packages on Holland or whomever, if you are chatting with somebody and you want to buy them a drink, well, it doesn't work that way, unless you don't have a drink package, in which case, yeah, of course, you could buy drinks for other people. But it's a big change, and we're already seeing some people not happy about it. But again, it's really, they're, in fairness, just aligning themselves to what all the other main cruise lines are doing. So can't really fault them for that. If you are flying in or out of Canada in the near future, be aware that the Air Canada flight attendants have voted like 99% in favor of a future strike. They've been in contract negotiations for several months now. The Air Canada pilots, so Air Canada is our largest major airline in Canada, closely followed by WestJet. WestJet pilots, I want to say it was last year, just coming out of, as a lot of flights were resuming and stuff like that. WestJet pilots, their contract came up, they negotiated, and they got a whopper raise. Air Canada was a little bit late coming to the game, and it's all based on when their contracts run out and stuff like that. Air Canada pilots came out and they wanted to be making the same as pilots in the US, which, I mean, I get it. You're kind of in the same geographical area, and sometimes you might be flying to, Chicago, Miami, LA, that kind of thing. But it's a different country. Like, 330 million people live in the US, 33 million live in Canada. Like, it's not economies of scale by any stretch of the imagination. Nonetheless, they wanted to get similar pay hikes as what, American Airlines pilots and I I don't know why I can't even think of another major American airline, but you get the picture. Delta. Um, Anyways, they did get an increase. I don't think it was as high as they wanted it to be, but it's not bad. And now the flight attendants are coming in, and flight attendants, like, if the pilots are making bank, the flight attendants are making, like, I think, I'd have to look it up. If you looked up the average, typical the average, not median, but the average pilot wage, in North America, I think you'd find it, or it's not North America, so I don't want to combine them. But if you looked it up in, say, Canada versus US, and then looked up how much the average flight attendant makes by comparison, it's like, I want to say, not even 20%. It's a lot less. And of course, when a flight attendant shows up for work, they get on board the plane, they let everybody on board the plane, they help them with their bags, all the people who've stuffed every last possible ounce of their household into their carry-on bag and then can't lift it to put it away. They're there to help you, and they're serving you drinks, and they're taking all your, snarky comments and stuff like that. they don't get paid until the doors close and they push back. That's when their hourly wage starts. And then again, as soon as they open the doors and they're waiting for you to get your butt off the plane, sometimes they have to clean the planes, depends on the airline. Um, and I'm not making a case for them to be making $80,000 a year, but the disparity between what the pilots are making and what the flight attendants are making is jaw dropping. Um, Yeah, yeah, and Christine says, "Yeah, flight attendants in the US make peanuts." Yeah, it's true. If you ever see somebody and they're like, you think, "Whoa, what a glamorous job. They can fly anywhere," and yeah, yeah. If they're on industry rates, they can fly for almost free. Um, like a flight that would cost us $1,000 might cost them 100 or 150. I think sometimes they basically just pay for the taxes. It's like peanuts. The thing is, if they're making peanuts as earnings, what are they gonna do when they get to that fabulous destination? It's not like they can extend, I would always if I was doing a work trip to Cancun or Cabo or whatever, I would always be like, "Okay, I'm tacking on a couple, 2, 3, 4 dot extra days onto this work trip, so once I'm finished all my meetings, I have time to just, you know, I can check out more hotels, or I can just relax at the hotel," that kind of thing, but that's on my dime. Not that their original part of the trip wasn't as well, but with flight attendants, if they have an overnight in London, that's great, but their pocket money, their free available spending cash is such that they're not gonna have a lot of money to go like, "Ooh, let's go down to Oxford Street and go, shopping in all these fancy shops." No. Um, so anyways, they are now in a position to, the earliest they can vote to strike is August 16th. Then they would have to give 3 days notice. So the earliest that we could conceivably see a strike is August 19th. Again, that's only in effect any of you who might be flying A, on Air Canada, B, to or from Canada. Um, and although if they do go on strike, that might cause issues with other airlines as people are rapidly trying to rebook their flights and save their vacations and stuff like that. I mean, imagine you've got a cruise booked and it departs on Saturday and it's Thursday and they're on strike and that's it. That's it. That's all. You've got to get a new flight or you're not going to get on that cruise. So you're going to be looking at who else is flying there and checking out those options. So to make a long story longer, watch out for that. And of course, we've got the long weekend coming up with Labor Day. So if there is going to be strike action, it will be leading up to the 1st of September, which is the Monday, the earliest one in quite a while. Um, so just bear that in mind. All right, moving on to um, happier topics. So Virgin Cruise Lines has announced a murder mystery cruise. Not really a murder mystery, it's more like a true crime themed cruise. This is taking place on October 10th on the Valiant Lady. It is sailing from Miami to it's just a 5-night cruise. So it's going to Puerto Plata as well as their private island in Bimini in the Bahamas. Um, so just a short one, but on this, they recognize that there's a lot of people who are following, like, true crime podcasts and stuff like that, so they're going to have access to, podcast recordings, that, are ongoing or have happened. They say they're gonna have behind the scenes workshops, but from what they're saying, the workshops are gonna be on how to podcast. So, if you're interested in the whole true crime thing, unless you wanna start taking up a whole new hobby of being a podcaster, I'm not sure that one has a huge amount of, value. There are gonna be meet and greets though, with some of the top hosts from these podcasts, as well as they will have a lot of, related fun events such as costume contests, um, bar crawls, and eerie entertainment. It's sort of a pre-Halloween theme to it. So that should be interesting, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. I don't actually listen to podcasts at all, ever. Do you guys? I know, Tammy, she my best friend Tammy, she, listens to podcasts all the time. And I just I don't know, never really got into it. Let me know if you guys listen to podcasts, and if so, if there's any really good ones. Like, is there something I'm missing big time? Um, I know, like, there's Emma Cruises, I know she does, podcasts. I think most of the big vloggers do. I don't know where they find this time. Um, maybe they're just more organized than me, I don't know. But no, podcasting's not really ever been my thing. I'm happy to do this though. It's a little bit more interactive. I think a podcast is just blah 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 blah, without any interaction. At least with this, I get to chat with you guys. Okay, moving on to I'm gonna change this and call it tech time because I it's not always going to be um, apps because there's some really great websites out there as well. And yeah, so I'm just going to talk like my last topic of the day every Wednesday is going to be about tech stuff, like either websites or techie things that can help improve your travel life. I'm pretty excited actually about I've got the AirPod Pro 2s is what I use for my uh, earbuds. With the new iOS, they are making some more improvements, and one of the things and there's a bunch of things, like, apparently, if you're listening to music on a plane and you start to nod off, it somehow figures out that you're falling asleep, and it will pause whatever you're listening to. Not so much a big deal if you're listening to music, but if you're listening to a podcast and then you wake up and you're like, "What? Who's doing what?" It would actually have stopped it, so you're not gonna wake up and have to then go back and figure out where you are within the story, so, I mean, that's pretty functional. But the other one that I'm excited about is apparently it's going to be able to give, studio quality audio recording. So I'm excited to share that, to continue to use these for recording, but with better sound quality. Um, but the problem is I would have to upgrade the firmware in these in order to so I can use the beta version of iOS 26 right now, but I would have to upgrade the firmware, and apparently there's still some hiccups with it, and if I go up, I can't go down. So, same thing if I upgrade my phone, I can go into the public beta version of iOS 26, which actually has a lot of amazing features, for the iPhone as well, but, if I go up, again, I can't go down. I can't go back to iOS 18 unless I hard reboot my phone, like, basically clear it and then reload it from the cloud, which I guess it's possible, but, yeah, not necessarily I hate it when technology doesn't work. I have literally 0 patience for it, when things just aren't working. So, if I'm trying to record something and it's not happening, I think Christine gonna be grumpy, so it's probably not a good idea. I think we're a month out from iOS 26 actually being released, the proper non-beta version, the version that ideally has all the kinks worked out of it. So I think I'll probably just have to wait for that. Let me know if any of you have gone for it, if you're on 26 yet, and how it's going for you. I'm curious to hear. So on that note, Apple has also made a change to their warranty program, and AppleCare is what it's called. AppleCare is with your iPhone, with any of your Apple products, is I would say it's a better warranty slash return program, or not return program, but it's a better warranty program than even Costco. and that's saying a lot. Right now, it's like 16 bucks a month. I don't know if that's the same in the US. I think it might be less. I think in the US, I think you pay 12.99 a month or something like that. But AppleCare per device right now is 16.99 a month. What they just announced a couple of weeks ago is AppleCare One, which is an entire new thing where you can bundle your warranty coverage. Now, this covers you if you, let me see here, what does it say? Um, uh, yeah, if you drop it, if you spill a glass of water on it, if you go for a swim with it in the pool, which would mean that you accidentally dropped it in the pool. There's even something about theft and loss protection, which that is something that I wasn't even aware of. But the cool thing, the really cool thing with this AppleCare One is it is now, instead of it being 17 bucks a month, it's 20 bucks a month, but it's for up to 3 products. And in addition to that, for uh, $7 a month, you can add additional items or devices. I don't know if it's an extra $7 or if it just is included in your up to 3 devices. But you can add other devices as long as they are in good condition, as long as they are less than 4 years old. So, of course, I got these from Costco. I didn't get AppleCare when I bought them. So I would be able to add them now. Pretty cool. I really like that. I need to check into it a bit more. Um, um, okay, sidebar. Did I mention if I'm booked for Secrets Maribel? And Angela's booked for May. So Secrets Maribel, brand new resort opening up in Cancun on the peninsula. It is the former now Emerald Resort. So this is going to be adults only, opening sometime in October. I didn't check this morning, but as of yesterday, it's still not showing in here in Canada. It's still not showing pre-opening rates. So, oh, where's my email? I can tell you what we're looking at. Sent. So as of the other day, what all we're seeing here in Canada, I suspect it's the same for UK, for people looking at booking it in Mexico, because each one is IP driven. So they load the rates for each market. And for Canada, our I forget what the US rates were, but for Canada, it's showing the Canadian member rate. So if you're part of if you get a free membership for Hyatt Inclusive, which duh, why wouldn't you? Starting rates are at 808 US, which is a bit. The standard rate for Canada is 851. So again, that's per room per night, lead-in room. So it's free to sign up. Why wouldn't you? And pro tip, just go and create a separate Gmail account, an email through Gmail. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. And create one that is just for your spam emails. You can even include this is like it could be my spam emails at gmail.com or something like that. If you want to get deals and stuff like that, use something like that instead so that you can at least get these extra discounts and rates, but without getting spammed into your primary email folder. Trust me, it helps. For the US, the pre-opening rates are showing is $430 per room per night, with standard rates starting at $915 per room per night. So interesting that there's a difference there. But they don't have like I said, they don't have the pre-opening rates loaded currently for the Canadian market. So I will be doing that. I am going to go in October. That's the plan. Not 100% sure on my dates yet. I'm hoping to find out a little bit more from them on an official announcement of the opening date. I don't know if it's just October 1st. My suspicion is it's not, because it usually is not like, it's usually a specific date within the month that they say they're opening, but I don't know. But as soon as they get those rates loaded, I am gonna book. So, yeah, definitely on that one. So yeah, AppleCare, definitely something if you have Apple products and you have more than one device that's being covered currently under AppleCare, it's definitely worth checking out to consolidate that into bundle pricing because it's going to save you um, quite a lot, especially when you consider the cost each month that it costs you over the course of a year. It's a bit ouchy. Okay, number two, my second app tip for you is Groupon. I asked about this the other day in my community post. Groupon is still around. Actually, a friend of mine was shocked when I mentioned it because she's like, does that even still exist? And the answer is yes. Um, Groupon is actually a great way to find discounted food options or attractions. Now, it's pretty specific. Like, you have to kind of be a bit of a sleuth and check out prices comparing. But also, it can be a good deal. It's more going to be for larger markets. So, for example, when we went, and this was 2 years ago, we went to Rarotonga in the South Pacific. So, go down basically where New Zealand is, and it's east east of New Zealand, tiny little island. In order to get there, we flew via Hawaii both ways, so in and out of Honolulu. And so I was looking for things to do in Honolulu, and we ended up booking to go and see Pearl Harbor. Got a Groupon for it, so it saved us like 30 or 40%. So it can be totally worthwhile. So it's definitely worth checking it out as well, for food stuff. Sometimes with the like any restaurant deals, you have to be really careful with those because sometimes it's like Monday to Thursday only, or advanced reservations are required, or that kind of thing. So you just want to make sure that you really look at the fine print. Otherwise, Monday to Thursday, you roll in on a Friday, not really going to have a chance to use it. So yeah. Um, oh, Angelo says, watching my older videos on high. Oh, thank you for watching. Thanks for the watch. Check out the rooms and food options there. That will be my other hotel I'm staying at in May. Oh, right. The Hyatt Zilara. You're going to the Zilara Riviera Maya or Riviera Cancun or whatever they're calling it today, because the names keep changing. So the Zilara was the old Secrets Capri. So, again, a very picturesque resort, and, beautiful pool and stuff, nice beach you can walk on, for not too far as you walk out to the ocean you can't walk out too far on the right, but to the left you can. So yeah, I think that's a great choice. I think you are going to enjoy that stay. Angela's saying Groupon's based here in Chicago. Yeah, don't see them promoted too much here anymore. Crazy how fast people move to the next app. Yeah, that's totally true. But seriously, there are still some crazy, stupid deals in there, especially for different markets. Like in Vancouver, for example, Victoria, not so much. Seattle, sometimes hit and miss, but it's worth looking. Like, you'd be surprised. And maybe, like Angelo says, maybe this is an area where this is the up and coming thing. Groupon wasn't ever a thing before. Now it's a thing. So it's worth taking a look, and you can have it sign up. You can sign up for it and have it send you 50,000 emails every day, to which will highlight any of the promotions and deals for you, which is, I mean, it's good and bad, right? Like, it's like delete, 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 but nonetheless, it's sending you sort of a summary of some of the best deals. So could be worth it. And the other one that I wanted to mention is ChatGPT, where now you have to be careful with this, because you probably have seen in the news the last few days that ChatGPT anything that's in ChatGPT, have to assume it's gonna be shared somewhere, and such that people could see your full-on conversation. So you don't wanna put any private details in there. If you're looking for generic stuff, like, I asked it to pull up, a guide for Cancun, and I was really disappointed in the results that it gave me because it was kind of pulling it from TripAdvisor, like, it basically was just like a search as opposed to doing the usual ChatGPT magic. It pulled results from hotels.com. Great. They're not recommending based on what's good or unique. They're recommending based on profit. And it also recommended based on TripAdvisor. And so we all know how accurate that is. Half the time you read reviews about a resort on TripAdvisor and it's not even the correct hotel. Um, it's like, yeah, I always find those funny. Oh, the resort was awful. They had so many kids running around and they were crazy and they only had one pool. And it's like, well, this was an adult only resort and they had multiple pools. So, you know, whatever. What can you do? So anyways, I pull up the ChatGPT results, and I just pulled in a search for Vancouver. I said, ask for a similar guide. So my request for Cancun, give me a guide to some fun and interesting bars to visit during the day for drinks and a bite to eat in the Cancun hotel zone on the Cancun Peninsula. All venues should be casual with low to mid range pricing and exclude any dance clubs. So that's part of the reason why I said to go for drinks during the day. I didn't want to get like don't send me to Mandela or Coco Bongo because at 3 in the morning I'd be sleeping, not dancing. But if that is your prerogative, that could be a great way to find stuff. So I then asked it for a similar guide to places to eat and drink in Vancouver, keeping all options within a 4 kilometer radius. It's about 3 miles of Canada Place, which is where the cruise ships dock. And so it actually came out with some Gastown highlights. So that's near, it's a very historic area and it's near downtown Vancouver, easily walkable from Canada Place. And so it listed out like local public eatery, Chill Winston, Water Street Cafe, Meat in Gastown, Alibi Room, which is a creative pub with creative pub food like mussels and fries, pork belly bites, great craft beer, 50 taps, that kind of thing. The vibe is a hip yet cozy brew pub, ideal for daytime beers with elevated pub bites. Steamworks Brew Pub, of course, those are all very common ones. Then downtown, it suggested Meat and Bread, which is, it says, try the famous porchetta sandwich, which is, what does that say? $6? What? That's worth trying. I didn't read through this before coming on today. Yeah, try the porchetta sandwich, which is like $6. Super salad or rotating daily menu. It's a bright and communal sandwich shop, quick and flavorful. And then Nelson the Seagull. Never been there before either. What to try? Avocado toast, charcuterie boards, as well as great baked goods and coffee. And the vibe is casual cafe, perfect for a light bite or coffee break mid exploration. So there you go. I know Dee Dee the dog has used ChatGPT for some city sightseeing. And it's a little hit and miss. Like probably what you want to do is like some of the verbiage I would use with ChatGPT is to add like take me somewhere quirky, take me somewhere eclectic, because that's sort of what I'm looking for. I don't want to like don't take me to the the chains. Like I don't want to go to Cancun and go to Carlos and Charlie's or Senior Frogs. I'd rather go to, whatever. Like I like going to Aqua World in Cancun. It's where a lot of water sports go start from, and you can get inexpensive food and drinks there, and it's great for people watching because there's people coming and going, doing speedboat rides and doing kayak tours and jet ski tours and all kinds of stuff. The fishing, so it's very interesting, but it's you're not going to see that listed in like the top 10 places to go for food and drinks in Cancun. Well, you will if you watch my video on where to go for food and drinks in Cancun, but it's not going to be on your typical list of places to see and go and, tourist spots. Um, so that, yeah, I like to look for, different stuff. So ChatGPT can be really good for that. And you can tweak it as you go, right? If you get the app on your phone, you don't need an account. So that's something a little bit different. When you do it on the desktop version, I know when I first accessed it, I had to create an account. So with the app, it seems to be very anonymous. So that's good. But either way, you can check and it's kind of like a high powered search engine, but it's a little bit more sort of chatty or what's the word? It'll customize. So, I mean, I'm not saying it would ever replace a travel agent or somebody who's like a guide or an expert in the area. But like I said, if you're looking for somewhere a little bit different that especially, like, how many times have we all been to Cancun? Well, I shouldn't say that, maybe you haven't been to Cancun. Angela's been to Cancun a lot, I know this. Angela might be interested in doing something like this and saying, "Hey, tell me a hole in the wall place to go for a drink that's safe, good for people watching, and inexpensive with a good vibe and great views." And it might come back and say, you go to actually, that was one of the ones that it did come back with, and I recognized it as being a great place. So this was in Cancun, and it was the Blue Bar. So in the Plaza Forum Mall, which is actually right beside where Coco Bongo is and Mandela, um, it is you go into the mall and you go up. It says it's on the second floor, but I thought it was on the third floor. And it's kind of almost like a food court, but they're all like on one menu. And you have servers that go get stuff from each one. So I could order a pizza, my husband can order a burrito, and my friend could order pasta. It's got like they've got everything there. And it is right at the top of the 7, the peninsula, um, and it has spectacular views of the beach and also of the beach below. Like, it is fabulous, and there always seems to be a breeze there. So if it's a hot day, it's covered up because it's inside the mall. But they usually have the windows open or the doors open, so there's a wicked breeze that goes through there, so that's nice and refreshing. But again, that's somewhere a little bit different that a lot of people might not know about because, like, why would you think to go into a mall to have a drink? But sometimes you stumble across these things. The other really good place to go actually in Cancun is the Isla Mujeres ferry terminal, which is up on the top of the 7, about halfway around there, closer to the Rio Palace Peninsula or Breathless, Breathless Soul, Cancun. Near there, there's a couple of bars that are like right where the ferry's coming and going. So you got people coming and going. There's a bungee jumping place. There's some little souvenir shops nearby. Some of the best mango margaritas I've ever had. And they are literally fishbowl size. Remember, a pro tip in Mexico, if you walk up to the bar and it says 2 for 1, and especially ladies, if you're not a beer drinker, and you say, well, oh, it's fine. You have a beer. That's your one drink. And I'll have a margarita. And you would think 2 for 1. So you just pay for whichever one is the most expensive, and the other one, the second one, is free. We all know this from clothing stores, right? Not in Mexico. Mexico, it's 1 and 1. So if he gets a Dos Equis or a Pacifico or whatever, and you get a mango margarita, then when you're done, you will each get a second one for free. So if you've got one of those big fishbowl sized drinks, just remember you're going to have another one on its way. So you might want to get a takeaway cup for that. Um, but yeah, otherwise it's just a lot to drink. You'd be like Angelo after his 15 drinks before lunchtime on the cruise ship. So yeah, that's my tech time for today. I will update those in the description down below, and we'll have a couple more um, unique websites or apps or tech tips for you for next week that'll help with travel. So I don't know. Let me know if you like that this feature. I just think it's kind of fun, and I've actually been following a few different people on TikTok lately who do tips like this, and it's interesting to see some of the tips that they have and how it all just makes travel planning easier. So that's always good, or helps you, give you an edge to like find that weird and wacky um, food court mall bar that doesn't sound at all interesting and yet has the most amazing views and totally worth going to. So thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you know somebody who might be interested in watching these weekly chats or in watching my videos, please let them know and ask them to subscribe. Like I said, we are this close to hitting 6,000 subscribers for the channel. Realistically hoping to hit 7,000 by the end of the year. I don't know if that's realistic, but it's more realistic than 10. Let's be honest. But I mean, I can shoot for the stars. But yeah, it really does help out the channel. So thanks for watching today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great weekend. And we will be back next Wednesday. So we will chat with you then. Thanks for watching.